To me.
It's me. Boy, that's cold.
That is frigid.
That is cold.
Something, is that your fridge?
Yeah.
Whew. Something very bad is going to happen. Season 1, episode 8, season finale.
Series finale? Possibly.
I would say currently, yeah.
Meant to look up if there was any rumors, but I didn't.
By the way, did you notice the so that we know the producers are the Duffers.
Yeah.
The director,
I think it's Doofer.
the director, man, I just looked this up. The showrunner was somebody else very exciting.
Doofer brothers, of course, from Stranger Things. Also on Netflix.
You're so good at vamping.
Also had seasons where sometimes they would have 8 episodes. It's kind of hard when you ask me to vamp at the beginning. If I have to vamp as literally the first thing, that makes it a little bit difficult. Vamping is more for like the middle, when you've
totally
already had
fair.
some established.
I'm really upset about this because I was really excited about who was running it because they've done something else that we're also a huge fan of.
Didn't they also do Brand New Cherry?
Haley Z. Boston.
I feel like they did Brand New Cherry Flavor, which also on Netflix.
That would check out, but it's something else. God. Anyways. Oh, I'm so mad at myself for not knowing this. I don't think it was her.
It looks like you just have to click one more time and then you're in IMDb, and that'll tell you her filmography.
It, though. That's the problem is I'm going to have to sit here and like dig for 3 times because I don't think it actually is them that I'm talking about. It's one of the directors of one of the episodes that got to do a whole bunch of it.
Okay.
But very exciting.
Well, maybe you'll think of it.
I definitely won't. Good up.
Good up.
I was pleased with the series end. I was much more pleased with the series at the end of that episode than I was maybe 3 eps ago. I felt like the show had a lull in the middle. I thought it closed out really strong. I thought the last couple episodes were really good. We talked about this while I was watching, but the lead actress is phenomenal in this role.
She's wonderful. Yes.
I don't know what else they've done, but as of that, I am very into them. I would watch them in something else.
Very, very good in the protagonist role here. Even though she's offbeat, an unusual leading woman, you're very much behind her. She's a very charismatic performer.
The couple fight they had where they started digging into each other was amazing. Nikki's a little bitch, right?
Nikki is a third child. Nikki is your quintessential third child.
What are you trying to say?
This has nothing to do with my family. We're talking about what's the psychologist who did all this? There are very specific archetypes that you fall under if you are the firstborn, the middle child, or the baby child. And the baby is coddled. The baby grows up not really having a ton of necessary life skills, definitely more social skills, but they end up being, of course, babied by the parents and by their older siblings. And then the parents are a little bit too old to do the same amount of rigorous discipline that maybe they did for the older and the middle. So they have a lot more freedom to just run loose, fancy free, a lot less discipline instilled on them. And this character is a quintessential, by the book, the psychiatry book, a youngest child.
It is funny. I do feel like the parents. It's interesting because you see the dad say it a couple times. He's like, "We failed you," which is legitimately with what we see, kind of true. But at the same time, their patience has run out with the babying, and so they're like, "You need to grow up," but we never gave you any of the skills on how to grow up. But also, Quit being a baby.
And don't you think, so from a plot perspective, we pick up from the end of the last episode, she's about to walk down the aisle and get married. She says her vows. We find out she didn't take her semen punch.
Yep.
And she says, I do.
Which
and
was the cliffhanger of the first one.
And then we turn.
She does an amazing vow because they've written their own vow. She's basically rewritten her vow at this point.
It seemed improv. She wrote it and threw it away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's improving her vows. It was very meaningful. I remember my wife improved her vows and did a fantastic job. Reminded me of.
I don't remember it that way.
Being dead on. You didn't like my wife's vows? I remember exactly what she said to you, and she was full of shit.
It was bad. No.
And then we get to Nicky. It's his turn, and he does a little vow, which is sweet, but then he gets to the I do, and he says he does not.
And I absolutely see his point of view on this.
Right. He's trying to be a grown-up in this instance. He thinks that this would be the grown-up decision to make.
Well, I think that's, yes. And it's, I mean, this is obvious. It's ill-begotten for a lot of reasons. One, you have that conversation before, right? He's trying to make up at the wrong time. Like, basically, he's trying to make up for the fact that he forced this marriage to happen, period. But the reality is that it just didn't need to happen. And by taking it at this point and changing it, he's like, we're past that. We've like gone through that. Now you are making this about you again and making this about like you doing the right thing. And like we're beyond that. You can't actually trust me at all. Right? So like you couldn't trust me to believe that I didn't want to get married. And now you can't trust me that I'm telling you the truth about this curse.
From his perspective, I think he's been a little bit tossed around by all of the people in his life who want the wedding to go on, who want the wedding to stop, who want the wedding to be this way or that way. He's found out about his, his parents' marriage and his brother's marriage, etc., etc. And this is the point where he stands up and he says, "I'm ready to be a man."
Also, but it's also it's the first time he's going, I'm not living my life for you anymore. I'm making the decisions. And so he's trying to say it's about her, but it's really about him, like trying to do this thing. I think the show is a tiny bit unfair to him because you're right. It is like a lot has happened this like last week to absolutely punch down on him. And like I said, his parents did not prepare him for this at all. You tilt that down just a tiny bit. Put it in front of your face. My bad. I want them to see your beautiful, beautiful face.
Well, now they can't see my chin.
Your beautiful, beautiful chin. So yeah, I do like, I think, yeah, he's a piece of baby in this, and that's fine. But it is very funny to get to that point. I thought it was hilarious when they were ripping into each other in the fight. They both got at each other amazingly well. What do you think the purpose of the upside down shot was on the entrance to the wedding? I'm trying to think like the significance of that. Are they just trying to like unease the audience and then pull us into focus? I just feel like it's such a deliberate choice that you like.
The camera guy has been showing off.
He has been showing off a lot.
I didn't read anything.
In editing, or do you think he literally did it with the camera?
I don't know. Probably just the camera, I would think. They've been doing a lot of weird cinematography stuff. If you had to press me for no, Micah, you have to answer the question, I would just say, reminded me of the upside down flag, which signals distress. That would be my stock answer. I don't think a lot of times if you're doing something like that in a horror movie, it means some like malevolent presence is in there and you're going from their viewpoint. But I wouldn't interpret it that way in that scene.
Now, before we get into what happens, do you think if the wedding had gone through, it would have gone differently? I mean, obviously it would go differently than the very bad thing that happens, but would the normal bad thing have happened?
Would the normal bad thing have happened?
Because I feel like she resigned herself to this and was like, yes, I am, this is my soulmate.
If they go through with the wedding, one of two things happens. She either dies or doesn't die.
Yeah.
Everybody else is still fine.
Yeah.
If they go through with the wedding. It's
Yeah.
just, are they soulmates, in which case she lives, or are they not soulmates, in which case she dies? I kind of think the answer at the end of their fight is that they're not soulmates.
Yeah, I think that's...
Because a key part of the fight is he doesn't believe her about the curse.
Oh, yeah.
And has just been kind of saying yes and pretending through the whole thing.
He hits on this quite a bit where he's like, you're hard to be around, which is the part that like digs pretty hard on her, but he's like, I am. But what is so crazy about that is like, yes, she might be difficult to be around or like difficult to love, as he says, but if you did love her, it wouldn't be that hard to believe her. Like, that's the tough part, is like, it's not, loving someone is not telling them what they want to hear. It's like actually believing that, and then, or arguing with it when the time, comes be. But I think that was illustrated quite well, where she's like, the point is that you should trust me, not that you should tell me that you trust me, because that's easier than like having this fight or this argument.
And by the end, he goes to try and marry her again after all this fight, and she says no.
Yeah.
She says fairly definitively, get away from me.
Well, I think what's so funny about that is I think he had plenty of opportunity during that to still marry her. And when it wasn't even that he wanted, that he changed his mind. I think it was watching his mother be the one to convince him to change his mind was what made her like, this is like, if I don't have this ability to like convince you of something, you need your mom to come in and convince you of this thing, then like this isn't going to work.
Right. Exactly.
Like watching her facial expressions while her mom is convincing him to go through this, you're just like, oh, there's no way that this is going to happen.
And it doesn't. And everybody who is in that family line who has not married their soulmate starts crying blood and dying.
So before we get there, they're having this giant argument and everyone is partying. And Portia's telling them to pour the stiffest drinks possible, which was hilarious. They used Portia once again just excellently. I looked at that piece as kind of like, it felt a little weird to me because I kept showing the party and all these people partying and reveling, and it felt a lot like The Great Gatsby, in that there's like all these rich people still having a good time when the like metaphorical world is like crumbling around. And I just like, I guess I just didn't understand that scene. Do you know what I mean? Like from a purpose standpoint. Like
Well,
it felt like it didn't fit. Like if the show was about, the wealthy elites, which the Summers are, right? And this house is, and all of their guests kind of are. But at the same time, it just kind of felt a little weird.
No, I think the point was that she, our protagonist, was never the point of any of this. I think looking back on it, the show is told from her perspective, from her like emotional state, and we're shown again and again that she's the outsider looking in, and she is not really, I don't want to say wanted. I'm struggling to come up with the right word, but she's not an important person in this, even though she's the bride, and the bride is supposed to be the most important.
She's not
part
important
on
to the event for anybody who's there.
This is functionally to the guests not a wedding; it's a family reunion.
That's fair. I think that's totally fair.
So I think it goes to show her isolation in this moment. I don't think it's a class comment, except
Okay. No, I agree with you.
except
Yeah,
for how
okay.
that supports the isolationism that she feels.
I think that's good. That's great. That's a good point. That's the explanation I needed. Thank you for filling me in
No
on
problem.
that.
Shout out to me.
Big shout out to Micah. So,
I didn't know we were using real names.
whoops. Sorry, Marky Malarkey. Your pseudonym, your online pseudonym that you make all of your posts on to Reddit forums with. The wedding doesn't go through.
No, because most of the guests are dead. First of all,
Well, that starts to happen. So that was
Okay.
that. Let's get into that happening. We find out that we've been interpreting the curse wrong, and it's not just that the curse passes down to their family, but essentially it takes immediate effect.
right? Yes, we had kind of thought that this would be anybody
Yeah,
below the line, so to speak.
which they've led us to think, because that's what she thinks as well. That's what everybody thinks. We basically think this is all like the biggest problem is for
little Jude.
little Jude, and then people start bleeding out their eyes and their noses and their mouths and ears, and what we find out is that anyone in the family who has agreed to a marriage and it isn't their soulmate is going to die. So the mom goes first.
Yep.
Which is an interesting point we find out later, because essentially what they're saying is the dad married his soulmate, but she didn't marry hers. And I think, they discussed that in their little bit of their fight, where essentially she's a narcissist, so she doesn't have anybody that could possibly fill that attention void that she has. And then there's a couple other people that survive.
Well, most crucially, Nell and Jules survive.
Yeah, that's kind of the finale to the whole thing. Nell and Jules do just fine.
Yeah, so apparently they're soulmates for each other, which isn't that nice.
We find out that Portia got married in Vegas.
In Las Vegas, so she's done. Even though that seems more like a whoopsie than a actual commitment.
You accept that proposal. Just about every guest dies. There's a fun phone call where they see their dad that isn't at the wedding but is on the phone, and he's bleeding out. I would constitute this as a very bad thing that's happening.
Certainly for the people that have died or witnessed this horrible event, yes.
Now, to our witness, who's there watching all this happen and is loving it, I don't think he knows that that's how the curse works either.
There was a glee in his eyes.
For sure, he loves this.
He got to be free of this. He didn't want to witness anymore. He passes the witness job to her, and I'm a little bit confused about the machinations of that.
Well, my assumption is that's what happens if you don't go through with the marriage.
But that I don't know that was really part of the lore.
Well, that's because that hasn't
going
happened
in.
yet.
So that was a little bit unusual.
Yeah. So,
but if they are going to do a second season, that's how they're doing it with her as the witness, right?
Absolutely.
It's a pretty open door if they want to continue.
well, I mean, it's great because you could tell. I don't think they will. I don't see it a compelling enough story, because you're basically just going to tell the same story again with a different couple, right? And at that point, we know all of the twists and turns that could happen with it.
Did you feel the same way about Beef?
I wasn't sure how they were going to do Beef again, but Beef doesn't have like lore rules to it.
Yeah, but if you have good content creators and good writers, they can take
I could
reinterpret.
see something happening, but for the most part, I just feel like it's done the story. But absolutely, I mean, it's horror. Horror is well renowned for doing sequels. So.
I think we're talking about like a 15% chance, but
yeah,
that's if you were doing a sequel, I think that's what you do.
Well, yeah, you obviously bring her back in like a limited role as the witness. Mm-hmm. The problem is that I just feel like there's no twist to it, but obviously they've, in horror they find ways to make twists to lore. It could absolutely
long lost
happen.
brother, there's
Sure.
so many.
So Nikki puts the ring on her to try and save Portia at this point, which like closes out the wedding. The witness signs the form. She starts to almost immediately bleed, but it's too late for Portia. She's dead. Rachel kind of wanders out into the snow, falls to what we think is her death, or I guess we should probably say is her death.
I think it is her death.
And then the witness is just kind of chilling at the table, eating, and then we see our curse that we've seen from camera view a couple of times. And I assume that's just death at that point. And he sees him because he's always seen it. And he goes, "Oh, I guess you've come for me this time. It's finally my turn." I think he's pretty excited about getting to pass on.
He's psyched.
And he gets to die. And then our Rachel wakes up, which I thought was fun. I thought that was a great little twist to the end. The scene where she walks in for her lighter, a cigarette, and Nikki's just lying on the bed.
Holding a little teddy bear, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then she has a nice little speech with Baby Doctor and says, "Hey, you gotta be really careful about who you marry." And
The nephew, you mean? Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. "And you'll be okay. And I'll see you soon, or I'll see you later." And then she drives off into the sunset and has a nice time.
And has a smoke.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot as well.
I wasn't sure it was going to stick the landing, but I'd say it absolutely stuck the landing.
I liked the landing. There's part of me that there's part of me that thinks episode 1 was a high water mark. And just the absolute weirdness they got into in episode 1, they never really matched that throughout the rest of the ep. And I did kind of want the sinister family angle to play out somehow. Even if we got to the same spot in the end, there just seemed to be too many early sinister family breadcrumbs to not pay off at the end. But I really enjoyed the end. I really enjoyed the different episodes that we got with the different horror tropes in each of them. I enjoyed the cinematography, the acting. Enough people died for sure.
From a horror scary perspective, nothing was scarier than the first ep.
Absolutely
The
not.
second was still scary. I think the horror aspect of the show, in that like you're on the edge of your seats and scared, goes away after like the third ep. Other than like her getting abducted by her dad, pretty much everything was like not really that scary. The VHS stuff was pretty creepy, but it was, and they did kind of bring you back to that where you're like, oh, something's bad is going to happen at any minute, and it does, but just not in the way you think. But I do think it was like doing the whole family thing was definitely a pretty smart misdirect, because you're watching that hand the whole time while the hand's doing the other stuff. And I thought it was pretty cool because I did not see everybody in the party bleeding out and dying. And I'm sure that was a fun scene to shoot, period. But like, I love it when a show misdirects me enough without like outright just like lying. Like there's there's shows that will just like not like just basically lie to you to make you think something else. Basically like all the Lost people saying it wasn't hell and then it just being hell at the end.
This was kind of close to that boundary this was kind of borderline because there was so much of that sinister family stuff. And I know a lot of what I'm talking about is across any horror movie or TV show or anything. But I really think there was a special Lynchian quality about the first ep that they never got back to. And I was a little bit disappointed by it, even though I loved the series, would recommend.
Yeah, I think it's hard to touch that first step because the first step was just so scary.
in not just scary, but full of possibilities. Like anything can happen. And of course, once you start drilling down into one particular possibility, but there was just a magic, a playfulness about the first step that they never got back to.
And like you said at the time, like multiple set pieces set up for you as you go. That made it pretty fun.
I would love for you on your sabbatical vacation, wherever you find the time, to pop on Widow's Bay. Have you heard of Widow's Bay?
I have not.
Apple Plus show that's getting a lot of steam right now and is in the same vein. It's kind of a horror, kind of a comedy. They do different episodes tonally like this show that we just watched. If amazing performance from Matthew Rhys.
Ooh.
One of our great television actors, in my humble opinion. If you enjoyed this one, and I think you did because we watched it together, you'll love Widow's Bay.
All right.
So take that in. Not unfortunately a show for your wife, but you'll have to do it when she goes to
Not
bed.
many shows are.
Yeah, there's all the reality shows and then like one or two others.
Well, excellent.
Yeah. Stay golden.
Stay gold, Pony Boy. Speaking of the wife.